Psalms chapter 56. Let me get there. So this is the chief musician upon Jonath, Elamrokim, Michtam of David, when the Philistines took him in Gath. So here's what he said. He said, "Be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me." He said, "Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they may be many that fight against me, O thou most high." Now you may work in an industry where you have peace, or you may work in an industry where you take hits every day, and you're going about the daily grind and what God has opened up the door that for you to do, and you may be taking those hits. And in this case, he says, "Mine enemies would swallow me up." And I think for me, sometimes when I go out into a situation and I say, they're eating me alive, because, it might be that I have to shift or adjust my expectations or my armor or my attitude or my words. It might be, the position that I'm putting myself in, or even the industry that I've chosen. But for whatever reason, this person's enemies, they're swallowing him up daily. And I understand that. I understand what that's like, to go out into a situation where I feel like I'm fighting for the right and the correct thing, and my enemies are swallowing me up daily. "For they be many that fight against me, O thou most high." And so he addresses God as the one who's most high. It's a name of God, but it's also a position of God in space and time and in authority, but also above the situation. "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." So when he's fearful, when he feels like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this, he says, "I will trust in thee." And that's what I do right now. I trust in God, even when I'm afraid. It says, "In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do to me." So in God I will praise his word. In God I will praise his word. I depend on the things that God has said to me. It says, "In God I have put my trust." Is to put his trust in the people that he's going up against, not to hurt him, because he's taking those hits every day. Actually, what he trusts is that God has it all taken care of. It's like when we remember that when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in the fire, God didn't put out the fire, but he went in there with them, and he didn't keep them from going into the flames. He actually went in there with them. The Son of God showed up, and he was in the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. God doesn't say you won't have to fight the battle. He doesn't say that you won't be taking the hits, but he says you can trust me. He says you can trust me. So in this psalm, he says, "In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me." Every day they wrest my words, so they twist my words. They wrest my words, W-R-E-S-T. They twist his words around. It's like, I didn't even say that, but you're interpreting it that way. Well, that's what these people were doing to him. That's what people have done, to us sometimes, to me sometimes. Twisting my words into, an intention I never had, or a desire I never even thought about. To twist your words, to say, this is what it isn't. And so he said, all their thoughts against me are evil. Everything that they're thinking about me when I come in, they're evil. All right. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. It's as if they're plotting, they're planning for him to come in, and they're just waiting for his soul just to crush it. These people. Shall they escape by iniquity? Is this an escape for them, that they've taken all their stuff out on me in their sin? Is their sin going to justify them? Is that their sin going to be their escape, that they've taken the hits against you or against me? No. He says, shall they escape by iniquity? In thine anger cast down the people, O God. Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? Again, this is one of my favorite verses my whole life. He says, thou tellest my wanderings. Everywhere I go, everywhere I move. He says, put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? And as I wept yesterday at the passing of a family member who was integral and important and precious to my family, I couldn't stop the tears from flowing. I couldn't stop, the gasps and the weeping from the loss of this mighty, mighty woman who was so kind and had been so kind throughout my youth and throughout my life, and to many, many people, but especially to her family. And so my tears were flowing yesterday. And did God turn his head? Did he say, it doesn't matter, buck up, get strong? No, he kept record of them. Every tear that fell, he remembered me. He remembered me, and he kept record of them as if he's written down every one. He cares that much, as if they're bottled up, as if they're in a bottle. I'll show you. What if like this was the bottle and it kept all your tears? Just imagine someone caring for you that much that they could keep a bottle, where your tears were flowing, and they would remember you that much. They would remember you that much to hold your tears. They love you that much to write down every single one. Have you ever received that kind of love from anyone? Have you ever heard of such a thing? Well, it's unheard of because it doesn't happen. But that's not how God feels about you. It happens with him. He records all of your tears. He keeps them in his bottle. He doesn't forget those things that are causing you to grieve, that are bringing angst to your soul. So he says, when I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. For this I know, for God is for me. And I feel like I'm supposed to stop at that verse, 56 verse 9. When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. For this I know, that for God is for me.